The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the cityscape as Mark sat at his desk, scrolling through the endless stream of posts on Instagram. His wife, Emily, was an influencer with a growing following, and he often found himself lost in the world she had built online. But tonight, something felt different. There was a tension in the air, a sense that something was about to unravel. "Mark, can you come here for a second?" Emily's voice echoed from the living room, pulling him out of his thoughts. He stood up, stretching his arms above his head, and walked towards the sound of her voice. She was sitting on the couch, her phone in hand, her expression unreadable. "What's up?" he asked, trying to keep his tone light. "I need your opinion on something," she replied, her eyes not meeting his. "There's this follower who's been really supportive lately. I think he might be special." Mark's heart skipped a beat. He knew the drill. Emily often talked about her followers, but there was always a hint of flirtation in her voice when she mentioned someone new. This time, though, it felt different, more serious. "Special how?" he asked, trying to sound casual. "Well, he's been commenting on all my posts, sending me private messages. At first, I thought it was just fan stuff. But then," she trailed off, her fingers nervously tapping on her phone screen. "Then what?" Mark pressed, his curiosity getting the better of him. "Then he started saying things, personal things, about us, about our relationship." Mark's stomach churned. "What kind of things?" Emily hesitated, biting her lip. "He said he knows me better than you do, that he understands me in ways you never could." Mark felt a wave of anger and confusion wash over him. "And you believed him?" "I don't know," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But there's something about him, something that makes me feel seen." Mark couldn't believe what he was hearing. Seen? By some random guy on the internet? "He's not just some random guy," Emily shot back, her voice rising. "He's been there for me, Mark. When you were too busy with work, or too tired to talk. He was there, listening, understanding." Mark clenched his fists, his mind racing. "So, what are you saying? That you want to leave me for him?" "No," Emily exclaimed, shaking her head. "That's not what I'm saying at all. I need to figure things out." "Figure things out?" Mark repeated, his voice tinged with disbelief. "You mean like, have an affair?" Emily looked away, her silence speaking volumes. Mark felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. "Emily, please tell me you're not seriously considering this." She finally met his gaze, her eyes filled with a mixture of guilt and determination. "I don't know what I'm doing, Mark. All I know is that I can't keep pretending everything is okay when it's not." Mark took a step closer, his voice softening. "Emily, we can fix this. We can talk about whatever is bothering you. But don't throw everything away because of some stranger." "It's not just some stranger," she whispered, her voice trembling. "He's become important to me." Mark's heart ached as he watched the woman he loved struggle with her feelings. "So, what now?" Emily sighed, her shoulders slumping. "I don't know. Maybe we need some space, some time to think." Mark nodded slowly, his mind reeling. "Okay, if that's what you need." As he turned to leave the room, Emily's voice stopped him. "Mark, wait." He turned back, hope flickering in his chest. "Yeah? Can you stay with me tonight?" she asked, her voice small. "Just until I fall asleep." Mark's heart softened at the vulnerability in her request. "Of course, Emily, whatever you need." He sat down beside her on the couch, wrapping his arm around her shoulders. She leaned into him, her body relaxing against his. For a moment, everything felt normal again, But as they sat there in the dim light of the living room, Mark couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change forever. As they lay together on the couch, Mark's mind raced with questions. What had this follower said to make Emily feel so connected to him? How long had this been going on? And most importantly, what did it mean for their future? Just as he was about to drift off to sleep, Emily stirred beside him. "Mark?" "Yeah," he murmured, half asleep. "Do you ever wonder if there's more to life than this?" she asked, her voice barely audible. Mark blinked, trying to focus. "More? Like what?" "Like adventure, passion, something outside of our everyday routine." Mark frowned, unsure of where this was coming from. "I guess. But isn't that what we have? A good life together?" Emily sighed, turning onto her side to face him. "Maybe, but sometimes I feel like I'm missing something, like there's a part of me that's still searching for something more." Mark reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "And you think this follower has that something?" Emily hesitated, then nodded. "I don't know, but he makes me feel alive in a way you haven't in a long time." Mark's heart sank at her words, but he forced himself to stay calm. "Emily, we can find that together. We just need to communicate more, to reconnect." She looked at him, her eyes filled with uncertainty. "Do you really think that's possible?" Mark cupped her cheek, his thumb gently tracing her skin. "I do, but only if we're honest with each other." Emily closed her eyes, leaning into his touch. "I want to believe that, Mark. I really do." As they lay there, wrapped in each other's arms, Mark couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. He knew that whatever happened next would determine the fate of their marriage, and as much as he wanted to hold on to the love they once shared, he couldn't ignore the undeniable pull Emily felt towards her mysterious follower. The night stretched on, the weight of their conversation hanging heavy in the air. As Mark drifted off to sleep, he couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change in ways they could never have imagined. The next morning, Mark woke up to the sound of Emily's phone buzzing on the coffee table. He glanced over, seeing a notification from Instagram. Curiosity got the better of him, and he picked up the phone, unlocking it with Emily's passcode. The message was from her follower, and as Mark read it, his blood ran cold. "Good morning, beautiful. Can't wait to see you tonight. XO." Mark's hands trembled as he set the phone down, his mind racing. Was this the final straw? Had Emily already made up her mind? As he sat there, staring at the screen, Emily stirred beside him. "Morning," she mumbled, her voice groggy. Mark turned to face her, his heart pounding in his chest. "Emily, we need to talk." She blinked, her eyes slowly focusing on his. "About what?" Mark took a deep breath, steeling himself for what he was about to say. "About last night, about your follower." Emily's expression shifted from confusion to realization, and she sat up, her eyes wide. "Mark, I can explain." But before she could say anything more, Mark's phone rang, the sound cutting through the tension like a knife. He glanced at the screen, his heart skipping a beat when he saw the name Mom. He hesitated, torn between staying to confront Emily and answering the call. But before he could decide, Emily spoke again, her voice urgent. "Mark, please, just listen to me." He looked at her, his mind racing. Should he stay and hear her out, or answer the call and give himself some time to think? The choice was his, and it would determine the path their lives would take from here on out.